Daily Broadside, day 717. I just got done at the dentist, and I don't know how those people listen to that music all day long. Holy Peter, Paul, and Mary. Just keep it on the down low. And I said, what about breakfast at Tiffany's? I love you truly, madly, deep. God, I would jump through the window that, for whatever reason, is 6 feet off the ground and about a foot wide. Oh, I've had to listen to that crap all day long. I've had conversations with them before. I'm like, how do you not go home and just listen to gangster rap all the way home, you know? If the police coming straight from the just all the way home, because I've been listening to Madball. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's horrible. But I will say this. James Earl Jones died. And two things I want to talk about. Number one, a lot of serial killers have three names. Just saying. Maybe there's some bodies under J.E.J. James Earl Jones. J.E.J. Jedge. Maybe Jedge got some bodies on him. So listen, here's the deal, right? From all accounts, Jedge sounded like a pretty decent human being, and one of those guys is just a down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth kind of nice person who just happened to be blessed with fame and riches, you know? Never let it get to his head. He stayed grounded. But he was an asshole in coming to America. I am not a fan of arranged marriages, forced marriages, anything like that. You know, and I mean, you think about it like, I've had my parents give me stuff for Christmas I didn't like. You know, I don't want them giving me a woman, you know. You know, this is mostly in Middle Eastern countries and all, but where there are a lot of machismo, that's a Spanish term. What am I talking about? Male-dominated societies is where a lot of this goes through. And I remember in school, here's the deal. I remember in school, I was sitting in the lobby here reading about this earlier. Dowries, okay? D-O-W-R-Y. We learned about dowries in school. I don't know why. I didn't learn how to balance a checkbook or change my own oil, but I learned what a dowry was. And here's what I just learned about 14 minutes. Well, maybe a little bit longer than that, but it doesn't matter. I learned that as of the 1961 Dowry Protection Act or whatever in India, they're not even legal anymore. Now, there's ways around it. They give like buku's amounts of cash at the wedding, which is still on. There's loopholes, but for the most part, you're not allowed to give dowries. So why, when I was in school in 1989, were we learning about dowries? I mean, what? I'd have rather learned about dowels. I'd have learned a lot more in life about dowels than dowry. But here's the thing, right? So a dowry, there's a lot of things, you know, people talk about, there's people that will debate, well, this leads to, you know, suicide and depression and all this because if the family can't afford to give the guy something. Now, if a girl's family had given me like, you know, a 612-piece mechanic set, or, you know, a tractor implement, or hell, I mean, they always told us the dowries was usually cows and cash, you know. I mean, you can give me a cow. I don't know how to pasteurize my own milk, and I damn sure can't keep that thing, you know, pinned up. I'd have to put it on a rope or something, like my neighbor who has a donkey named Donkey. No, Pony. He has a pony named Pony, and he walks around on a rope, but it's got this small little pin. I ain't got a pin for a cow. A cow would have my whole yard eaten. And, you know, it's well over an acre, but look, good Lord, you know. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so dowries, if the females can't, if her family's not rich enough to give the man of her dreams a dowry, then that can lead to suicide and depression on the female's part and all this other stuff. And then there can be like dowry domestic violence where, you know, they'll set the girl on fire or, you know, throw acid in her face. These are really horrible countries. I don't care what anybody says. They're just really horrible countries, by and large, not everything, you know. And it must have come back from feudal Japan, but they've got them in Japan as well. But here's the thing, right? What was I talking about? I've lost my train of thought, but that's not important. The important part is that James Earl Jones wanted to give Eddie Murphy, that chick that just jumped on one leg. Man, the argument is that, like, well, these marriages, they work out better because people don't come in with emotions. And that's what leads to divorce is, you know, your emotions fade and then you're stuck with this person that you learn to hate or not get along with or not be able to coexist with, as opposed to, and it would be an interesting experiment. Like I'm sitting here right now in a downtown part of a town, right? And somewhere across town, somebody gets picked to be my wife, right? And we get married and we're like figuring each other out because we don't really know each other and all that. Now, assuming that we both find each other physically attractive, because I think that's kind of important, you know. I'd be telling my parents, like, look, I don't want her to be stupid. I don't want her to be ugly, okay? Here are the measurements I prefer. No, I'm kidding. But, no, but you know, there's got to be some kind of staple. She can't be ugly and all. But that goes to my point, you know. You could see this, you know, you ever go in, like, a store and you see some really homely chick with, like, no hips, no chest, no nothing, and you think to yourself, you know, you'd think Christy Brinkley would be, like, the hottest person in bed kind of thing when you see somebody like that. But it could be that woman right there. You just need to do it in the dark because she's not much to look at. But what if she just rocked your world? What if this dowry chick just rocked your world? And here's the other thing, right? I keep saying that, and I never finished the thing I was saying before I said, here's another thing. What, you know, in this male-dominated society, I wonder if it gets to the point where you're like, you actually start liking the girl, and you're kind of like, tonight I please you. Tonight, the oral is on me, you know, because you know it's just all about him, all right? There's no female orgasms in India, you know, in an arranged marriage. They don't, you know, I don't know what they're doing, but they got to be doing stuff on the side because that ain't happening in the bedroom. I wouldn't think. I've never been privy or present during an Indian mating session. That's just not something that I've come across. But I would venture a guess that it's probably not high on their list of things because it's such, again, a male-dominated society. You know, and I don't know what percentage male-dominated societies we have here, but anyway, back to my story about the girl across town. If somebody, you know, just arranged and we met, right? You know, we met at a Starbucks, and I'd be like, why are we at a Starbucks? These places are dumb. This is where I wanted to meet. All right, we're off to a rocky start. But we physically find something attractive about each other, and then we get married. It would be interesting to see how all that worked, you know, because you'd know little to nothing about the person, and you'd almost grow together instead of two people who are already grown learning to negotiate each other. Does that make any sense? You know, we would turn and walk down the hall together instead of bumping into each other. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But anyway, James Earl Jones died. And last thing I'll say about this is, if you've never heard David Prowse, who was the like physical Darth Vader, and I'm not a Star Wars geek, so I may be pronouncing his name or getting it completely wrong. I don't know. But if you've never heard him, who was the 6'7", 6'6" guy that played Darth Vader physically, if you've never heard his original like screenshots or whatever the hell they're called, the roles where he's the one doing the voice of Vader, and he does not sound menacing at all. So they came back in and said, Jedge, we need you. And then he came in and did that. You need to go pull it. It's on YouTube. It's pretty interesting because you're like, this is what Darth Vader was going to sound like? It's really stupid. He looks imposing. Actually, he looks dumb. I think Darth Vader's outfit is really stupid. But that's for another day. James Earl Jones died. This is CNN. Actually, it's not. This is no longer CNN. Giddy.